What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're here for a brand new Madden 26 rebuild, and this has been the most requested rebuild probably consistently since we've done our Madden rebuilds. It is the Chicago Bears. I hope you guys are all ready. It is Sunday. Not only any Sunday, the best Sunday of the year, first football Sunday. So thank you very much for taking time out of your busy Sunday, maybe during commercial breaks, maybe during half times, to tune into today's video as we take on an interesting rebuild. I'm not so worried of this having to be a complete, tear down, drag them out, have to completely reshape this team type rebuild. Anticipation is pretty high. You get Ben Johnson, you get the top head coaching hire for the last 2-3 seasons since he's been in Detroit. He's been the hot name that everybody wants, and he goes to a divisional rival here in Chicago. I think when we take a look at this Bears team, I love the way they approached this offseason. They said, you know what, we have to improve the offensive line. And what did they do? They went out and got Jonah Jackson. They went out and got Drew Dalman. They went out and got Joe Thuney. And they drafted Ozzie Tropio from Boston College, 73 dev trait player. I'm going to be honest, might as well go with the potential growing pains of starting him at left tackle because Braxton Jones is in a contract year, probably not going to pay him. The only way this could work out is maybe he wants to play guard and could be a successor to maybe Jonah Jackson, or if Joe Thuney surprisingly retires sooner rather than later. But as it stands right now, I think Tropio is our long-term option at left tackle. Maybe a surprising decision. They had Cole Kmet, who by all accounts is a solid tight end one in the league. And they went on in the first round and drafted Colston Loveland out of Michigan. 73 with a dev trait. He's a real good skill set. He's one of the best route runners, regardless of tight end or wide receiver in last year's draft class. I think they kind of dogged him on that a little bit here with only 70 short route running. His catch traffic, spectacular catch, has more than enough athletic ability. But it's kind of weird because when you've had two tight ends, you want to try to make two tight ends work. At least from a rebuild standpoint, I've always been all right, we're going to have one guy play at tight end, and one guy will be the slot wide receiver. We do not have that luxury because we have DJ Moore, we have Rome Odunze, 79 superstar, and then you get Luther Burden, who I think was one of the best value draft picks in last year's class out of Mizzou. He's a guy that if the draft was 2 years earlier, he would have been a lock to go in the first round, but a little bit of a down year at Mizzou. Has him fall a little bit. He is 77 overall with a dev trait, with a spectacular skill set. So many times over the last 5 years, these people are the next CeeDee Lamb, the next Deebo Samuel, those slot versatile wide receivers that are great playmakers, but it's almost what they do after the catch when the ball is in their hand as a playmaker. And I think Luther Burden is he fits that bill. And as you can tell by his Madden skill set, he absolutely is going to be that guy. The slot is his position. We better hope that DJ Moore can make plays on the outside and that Rome Odunze can make plays on the outside because we have a special talent that we can play in the slot. We have DeAndre Swift, the running back. He's solid. They get Kyle Monangai from Rutgers, another nice little power option. And I think we got to be honest. Even Chicago Bear fans will admit, as we got 2 skill points from the preseason with Caleb Williams, and we'll do the right thing here. We'll make him a perfect scheme fit in the eyes of what Ben Johnson wants for a quarterback, which is a field general. Doesn't matter. We get 2 upgrade points with that right away. Caleb Williams being a superstar X Factor is incredibly generous. Anytime I've done any content that features Caleb Williams, there's always comments, how is he still a superstar X Factor? I think that is a very valid comment to be bringing up. I think if he got brought down to a star, I don't think too many people would be up in arms about it. I think superstar would be generous. I think a superstar X Factor is borderline, did he just get passed over when they were doing ratings for Madden 26? Whatever, that is what he is. We've actually had the first roster update to start this game. Week 1 roster update. It clearly wasn't a botch. It clearly wasn't a mistake. Caleb Williams is a superstar X Factor, so we're going to capitalize that here in this rebuild. Now, quickly looking at the defense. It's not a bad defense. Definitely a defense that needs some TLC, but there's certain positions we're fine. We get Edmonds and Edwards at linebacker. Now, they're probably both nearing the end of their prime, but they're serviceable the time being. Brisker's a legit strong safety. Get Kevin Byard, the veteran. We're going to need likely to find his successor. Probably Edmonds is 26? Edmonds should be good for the rebuild. Edwards does start to regress fairly soon, so we need to be conscientious of that. But the linebackers and safeties, I feel decent about. You got Jalen Johnson, the 90 superstar at corner. Kyler Gordon. We got Tyreek Stevenson. All dev traits across the board. All guys that still have their best football ahead of them. As long as we can kind of keep and retain there, I think we might need one safety, and then the secondary can kind of be set and forget. The defensive line, you have the veteran Grady Jarrett coming over from the Falcons. Javon Dexter's a stud. You get Shamar Turner, the rookie from Texas A&M, 72 with a dev trait. You got Montez Sweat, who's a win-now player. Maybe that's the way to view it. Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett, Jalen Johnson, Kevin Byard, TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds. Those are win-now players. So that is how we have to view this rebuild. Long story short, previewing the offense and defense, I kind of started off being like, this is not a tear-it-down rebuild. This is a rebuild where you need to find maybe 4 or 5 pieces, either in free agency or with how we've been able to draft so far in Madden 26. Some nice draft picks, and that should be enough to get this Bears team into a Super Bowl. Well, before we go any further, gotta give a shout out to today's video sponsor. I'd like to give a big thanks to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Factor just introduced its healthiest menu yet. Meeting your nutrition goals has never been easier with fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your doorstep. Factor's team of gourmet chefs create each meal using only ingredients with integrity to help you feel your best all day long. Factor has meals my whole family loves. And for only 2 minutes in the microwave to get a weeknight meal done has never been easier. With no refined seed oils, no refined sugars, it's just real food. Factor has also doubled the size of their menu with 80 plus rotating weekly meals that are chef crafted and restaurant quality. You can take the guesswork out of eating clean with Factor's nutritious and balanced meal options. And with new Asian and Mediterranean cuisine meals, enjoy nutritious meals without compromising flavor. So head to factor75.com or click the link below and use promo code C4FB50 to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. That is code C4FB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. This offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. That is C4FB50 at factor75.com. So I think I may have found something. I think overall, in real life, the Chicago Bears are probably going to try to make Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland work. But I think with how we have 2 tight ends and 3 wide receivers that there's no way I can get them all on the field. There's no way I can maximize that value. So I looked around, what team is desperate at tight end? Miami is so desperate for a tight end. This is an all or nothing season that they got freaking Darren Waller out of retirement. That's not going to work out. So how about this? I got Cole Kmet, 26 years old, 82 with a star dev. What the Dolphins have is Jalen Phillips, 26 years old, 82 overall with a star dev trait. Jalen Phillips is right ahead of Chop Robinson as far as pass rush. They have Bradley Chubb as 1 starter. So technically, they have 3 pass rushers. That could be, it makes sense. Like excess pieces. Now, because they don't, according to the team needs, need a tight end, even though that's not, I'm going to throw in a 5 and a 6 this year, and we're going to make a big-time trade to get somebody that can play on the other side of Montez Sweat and really complete that defensive line. So coming out of week 7, we are 2-3. Not great performance off our early bye, losing the Commanders 17-3, but they're playoff contender, and hopefully it wasn't on a last-second Hail Mary this time. The bad news, I'm not going to say bad news, I'm not super concerned, is probably a big reason why, a tight end going for an edge rusher is Jalen Phillips is out of contract, where Cole Kmet, I believe, had 2 years left on his deal. There's not a lot of re-sign interest, and when I move the webcam, boom, we do not have a whole lot of salary cap to be navigating with. In perfect world, Phillips and Brisker both get re-signed. Braxton Jones is, and everyone else here is kind of replaceable. And yeah, there's just not really a way at this point to get an early extension for Jalen Phillips, but at the end of the year, we'll be able to move some things around and make a deal like this happen. Oh, we got a huge win. 2 wins back-to-back. Most notably, though, where we're at right now with the Bears, an ascending program that we'd like to make the playoffs this year. Baltimore is one of the toughest teams you're going to find. That is a huge win. 19-13 wasn't super impressive. Wasn't like we flexed our offensive will all over them. But it's still, a win's a win. We get our first Player of the Week performance. 6-4 right now. Just took down the division rival Vikings 34-9 in a game where old Caleb Williams. There we go. That's what we need to see. You need to see a couple of those performances throughout this season. A nice 4-touchdown win and a big win over a tough divisional rival, playoff contender as well in Minnesota. So at the end of the year, number 1, we go 10-7, which I think that's a reasonable record for the Chicago Bears in year 1. They're very much, if all things go to plan, like a bubble playoff team, I think, in the NFC. Kind of middle everything. Top 10 passing offense, which is cool, given the fact that we have an X-Factor quarterback, which something crazy kind of happened. But yeah, I mean, taking a look at that, behind the Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers in the division, we get in as the 6th seed at 10-7. Take a look at our player stats here this season. Caleb Williams was 10th in yards, top 10 in touchdowns, 3,700 yards, 32 touchdowns to 9 picks. Pretty good. I mean, for a quarterback that started as what, like a 75 overall? You know, that's his floor. And hopefully from here on out in the rebuild, we continue to gradually get better. DeAndre Swift, 1,000 yards, 3 touchdowns. Cool. Odunze went over 1,000 yards. Luther Burden, 708. DJ Moore, 703. Colston Loveland, 70 catches. Second on the team in catches with 700 yards and 11 touchdowns. So I think in a perfect world, we could get 2,000-yard receivers with the talent that we have here and the upside that we have here. But again, I think this is going to be the floor of our passing offense for this rebuild. And it's only going to get better as we go on. Defensively, TJ Edwards was a tackle machine. We got 10.5 sacks for Javon Dexter, 10.5 for Grady Jarrett, 7.5 from Jalen Phillips, 5.5 from Evans, only 4 from Montez Sweat. That is very disappointing. Interception numbers ain't bad though. Like all of our corners getting involved, which is pretty sick. Brisker, for being in a contract year, not a crazy good season, to be honest with you, as our budget is going to be pretty difficult and tight once we hit this first off season. And for whatever it's worth, it's a start. Caleb Williams making the top 10 MVP shortlist. Colston Loveland wins Offensive Rookie of the Year with Luther Burden coming at number 3, and I don't think we have that if we don't make that trade with Cole Kmet and the Dolphins. And TJ Edwards close, no cigar, runner-up for the top linebacker in the NFC. But here's where things get crazy. I will say I have officially submitted my feedback that some of these things are a little overpowered. Loveland with 3 upgrade points. We got 8. Now Loveland won Offensive Rookie of the Year. That makes sense. Caleb Williams, however, with 8 upgrades. And we got it for making the Pro Bowl. We got 16,000 for 3,500 yards passing. 16,000 for 30 passing touchdowns. So for having, that 5,000 is nice because the Bears have never had a good passer. So breaking the season record for the Chicago Bears all time. But there is no way you should get 16,000 XP for 30 touchdowns. And there's no way, again, it just needs to be half. That would be the easiest way to fix it. Could take 5 seconds to hot fix in. Literally just 50% less. I feel like even that might be generous. If you're getting 8,000 XP for a 30 touchdown season and 8,000 XP for 3,500. But it would certainly be better than 16, giving Caleb Williams, who is an 81 overall, 8 upgrade points. So he ends the regular season, and as you can see, after this one playoff game, win, lose, or draw, we will have another point for upgrade for Caleb Williams as an 88 overall on having a decent season. So hopefully the Caleb Williams magic continues. We have a winnable game here on the road against the 11-6 Arizona Cardinals in the first round of the wild card. This is an exceptional defense. Budda Baker, Josh Sweat, and company. Top 5 overall with a top 5 passing defense, top 10 rushing defense. I like to think we have, obviously, the offensive advantage. Let's see if we can squeak out a win and get a nice first playoff win of the Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams era. All right, let's see it. Opening drive. Bears get the ball. We get no points. Going for it on 4th down. Arizona punishes right away. Quick touchdown. 2 quick touchdowns. Kyler Murray. Excuse me? Oh, my God. We got a sympathy touchdown. It's been, unfortunately, garbage time points for Chicago since the whole second half. What? There's no way Kyler Murray's good in Madden. Oh, 93% completion percentage. Good thing all of my scouting has gone towards safeties. But still, I am very high on our secondary that we have. Jalen Johnson and company. Caleb Williams played pretty good. But you just cannot let Kyler Murray get a perfect QBR. He was unstoppable. I don't know if it makes me feel any better. But the Cardinals were like unstoppable this year. They went all the way to the Super Bowl, losing to the Denver Broncos, where Jahdae Barron, the rookie first-round pick, gets MVP. Now, for us here in Chicago, I'm not saying I was hoping Joe Thuney retires, but it certainly would have made our salary cap situation kind of solve itself. Now, as far as dev traits are concerned, we lose the superstar dev on DJ Moore. We gain a superstar dev on Colston Loveland, your offensive rookie of the year. That's pretty sick. Ozzie Trapillo was a hidden dev player. He's a star. Same with Luther Burden. However, Luther Burden is up to an 85 overall. So, I mean, honestly, I hate to do it, but, like, do we consider shopping DJ Moore sooner rather than later, or do we try to make it work with all these skill position players? Obviously, Caleb Williams, insane. Has a +6 overall boost, which means still, at the end of year 2, he started as a 75 X Factor, and he finishes as a 90 X Factor through one season. So sky is the limit for Caleb Williams. Defensively, I thought maybe Javon Dexter could have had an outside chance at popping a dev trait. We did get Jalen Johnson. The corner goes from I believe he was a 90 superstar starting the year. Now he's an X Factor, so that's kind of cool. We have old players in Edwards, Edmonds, and Byard that could have straight up lost their star dev, and they are able to keep it up. So that's cool, but ultimately we still get a lot of fix. We were so short in that game against the Cardinals. So first things first, let's figure out the salary cap so we can give a reasonable and respectable contract offer to Jalen Phillips. Keep him here. There's not even like one guy on this team that I can like renegotiate. There we go. Here we go. Okay. Yes, Jalen Johnson, thank you for restructuring. We got just enough to give Jalen Phillips, I think, a reasonable deal. 3 years, $60 million. So at least that whole trade didn't come back, because, I mean, if we were unable to re-sign him, terrible trade for us to make. We have Darnell Wright. We're going to decline that fifth-year option so that we can pay him sooner than later. Braxton Jones is good as gone. Do we have enough to get Brisker? Probably not. No, not even close. Which is fine, because, again, our focus scouting for this year was safety. So hopefully we can find, honestly, we need 2, because Kevin Byard probably should be succeeded sooner rather than later. We have about $20 million of salary cap, no interest. We're going to have to build through the draft until we actually have money that we can keep our guys in-house and not sweat, not worry about it, because declining that fifth-year option on Darnell Wright, like that's what this money, not spending this year, that is going to be Darnell Wright's money next year. So, desperate times call for desperate measures. There's one draftable first-round safety in Alani Bradford. So, we're going to focus scout him. We look at free safety. No one in the first round. No one even looks remotely draftable. D's. Walt Wheeler has a B. I honestly think our best bet is let's go see if there's any corners that have, like, good tackling. Like, oh, we got a bunch here that have A tackling. Who could be the best? UDFA, A tackling, B catching on Bush, A on Streets. Johnson here. Like, what do we got for man and zone? Okay, not great. Bracket has C-man. We got a B on Jaleel Dotson. Like, I think I'm looking at corners for our best bet here to get 2 DBs. That's what we need. First, second round, 2 DBs. Well, we got Bradford is a first, second round talent. That checks out. And our high tackling DBs, Dotson, first, second round talent, is a potential third rounder. Brackett also, I mean, not an absolute steal, but he looks real good as well. So at pick 20 in the first round, with not a lot of needs at all, I think we go out and we retool the secondary. Mississippi State, Alani Bradford, all Bs. Athletically speaking, certainly on the slower side. The vert jump helps. His 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle is not brutal, but there is a chance we're chasing a normal dev player. Number 50, and this is what happens when you chase a need. This is probably far and away our worst first-round pick of my Madden 26 rebuild cycle. All right, we're going to trust sports. Second round, we're going to go after Jaleel Dotson with the plan of making him maybe a free safety. A tackling for a corner. I'm not going to say that's super rare, but he's so good, he crashed the game. All right, let's try this again. I'm going to guess, just because it crashed the game, he's going to be a 99 X Factor. Mr. Jaleel Dotson, slot corner, 23 in true value at pick 52. No dev trait. Wow. Not gonna lie, maybe take another swing. Quentin Brackett. Chasing the dev trait at this point, 59. So it's a hit. No dev trait. All right, now we're going to shift our attention. We have a guard here, Mark Crowder, who has A pass blocking. Kind of stuck out. Number 32 in true value at 106. And there we go. We get our first dev trait. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have, because of the Jalen Phillips trade, a lot more later picks. But I think we get a 68 linebacker, Crowder 75 with a dev trait. So we at least have, delayed our first draft class here in Madden 26 with no dev traits. We get one in Crowder. Bracket 73, 76 on Dotson, 74 on Bradford. So if you are going to get normal devs, you might as well get 3 that absolutely look like, regardless of dev trait, can be valuable players for us. Looking at the class overall, anything crazy? 83, a center. McGee at guard, 83. So it's a good year to need a lineman. So as we start year number 2, here's a look at our squad. I'm going to actually do I don't know, maybe it's not the most popular decision, but DJ Moore kind of is, if I'm doing a pecking order of our wide receivers. He would be our wide receiver 3 because the regression is starting. Odunze is superstar playmaker. Burden in the slot's an absolute beast. It might look weird, but I think that's the right order for these wide receivers as we go through this rebuild. We're going to have Crowder to start at right guard over Jonah Jackson. That was such a hit, our only dev trait player. Now, take a look at the defense. I have Bradford. That was our first-round pick, 74 normal. We drafted Dotson as a corner to move to safety. He's actually a higher rating than Bradford is. So that ends up being a really, really smart decision. And remember, we only drafted Dotson because he had A tackling for a corner. And that gives us, 71 tackling is pretty much a corner that can play at safety. I don't think there's, we're cheesing anything here. And he should be a really good player. So in midseason, we're 4-3, kind of itching for a breakout scenario. Try to get anybody, offense, defense. I'll even take a special teams breakout, but we have been starved of that. But 4-3's a respectable. Come on, we got to be able to beat the Saints here. Can we get the 5-3? 5-3 midway point. There we go. Nice. We beat the Saints. Feels a little bit better. Feels like, okay, that's a pretty damn good team. Actually, that a player of the week performance, Caleb Williams, 5 touchdowns. 4 through the air, 1 on the ground. Okay, this is a much better. Here we are. Here we go. What are we looking at? Salary cap. This has been maybe the surprise of this rebuild. $37 million. And we got a lot of players. Now, I will say the one position we could kind of pencil in is he's gone would be Edmonds, because I made Mike middle linebackers our focus for the upcoming draft class. Because I kind of thought more so, TJ Edwards is getting out there and age a little bit. Outside linebacker is a weakness of this class. Let's just look at the mics. I'm not going to pay a running back. Stevenson's contract looks reasonable. You got to pay the top dogs here. And the 2 top dogs are Dexter and Wright, and I don't think there's any way we can afford both of them. Let's see. Javon Dexter, 4 years, 69, done. Darnell Wright. We're going to be in the red, aren't we? No. 5-year, 107. I should be able to get that one across the line. Now, it sucks for Stevenson, sucks for Swift, sucks. If all things were equal and I had money, all these guys would get paid. But an interesting wrinkle to a Chicago Bear Madden 26 rebuild, your salary cap situation is dog shit. So it took about $500,000. We get Darnell Wright across the line. And what makes this even more, is I get why the salary cap's the way it is. They're going in with Ben Johnson because you're still on the rookie contract of Caleb Williams. But there's also is this and all these contracts that we've inherited to start this rebuild, are they going to end before we have to pay Caleb Williams? Because their salary cap's already this bad. Caleb Williams, like Rome Odunze, like I don't see how we have any chance of re-signing both of them, let alone even maybe one of them. So at the end of year number 2, we make the playoffs, but while I was just upgrading players, something kind of cool. Now, our draft class by our standard last year, first 2 picks, normal dev, kind of sucked, but Crowder, our only dev trade lineman, who we drafted almost solely on the fact that he had I believe it was A pass blocking. And I always tell you, when you're drafting players, when you're blind picking, traits that stand out. Anybody that's like a day 3 pick that has an A grade in an S tier important ability for a lineman, it'd be A run block or A pass block. Go get him. Mark Crowder out of North Carolina, a superstar dev guard. Kind of sick. Kind of makes up for the fact that, like, I don't think, really even based off of stats this year, either Bradford or a Dotson is going to go up a dev trait for our top 2 picks. But that certainly helps smooth things out on the offensive line. So take a look at our player stats. Caleb Williams. Maybe the passing yards aren't great. And I do, it makes sense that this Bears team does feel like if I had like a true game-changing running back, which we're about to let DeAndre Swift hit the open market, maybe that's the play. Maybe we look at running back, maybe even in the draft. Feels like it's a team that's like is still designed to like run the ball first. I think that's why our passing yards will reflect that. But 35 touchdowns for Caleb Williams is pretty sick. 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns for DeAndre Swift. Honestly, if I had money to spare, I probably would retain DeAndre Swift. But we are going to let him walk, which, all due respect to Kyle Monangai, probably going to need to find a running back. And by that means it's going to be the draft. And I'm kind of bummed out that I didn't focus scout the running backs. But Caleb Williams, 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns total. When you throw in some pretty good rushing numbers, kind of sick. On the passing standpoint, though, no 1,000-yard receiver. Now, everyone kind of ate, which is, Colston Loveland. That's actually great numbers for a tight end. No worry about him losing his dev trait. DJ Moore, that's fair. Now, I'm a little concerned. Rome Odunze is 55 catches, 787 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Good enough to keep his superstar dev. I do not know. And this may be one of the rare teams at the slot wide receiver. I wouldn't even say rare. It has definitely been nerfed to a degree in Madden 26 where you can't just... how many rebuilds I've done? 7 or 8? Maybe 2 or 3 of those. I haven't necessarily got the slot cheese where I put the slot guy in and he is far and away like the most productive wide receiver, which is progress in the right direction. Because Bird was our starting slot and I guess, technically he had the most yards, but it wasn't by much. Defensively, Edmonds and Edwards, both over 100 tackles. Edmonds with a great year. Obviously, in a contract year, he's going to play out his mind. 15.5 sacks from Jalen Phillips. That is what we need to see from that big blockbuster trade we made with the Dolphins. 10.5 sacks for Shamar Turner. 6 sacks Montez Sweat. 5.5 for Javon Dexter on 8 TFLs leading the team there. But maybe a little disappointing in the production there on Javon Dexter. 4 picks Edmonds. We got 3 for Jalen Johnson, 2 for Kyler Gordon, 1 from Edwards. So a double bummer that neither one of our new DBs had really particularly great seasons. Bradford maybe a little bit better, 85 tackles with 2 TFLs. But that's kind of like, is tackles really a great stat for DBs? Not really. While he didn't win MVP, Caleb Williams is moving his way up that short list. Last year he was number 10. This year he's number 6. He's ascending. And Johnson is runner-up for Coach of the Year. Caleb Williams, runner-up for Quarterback of the Year in the NFC. Kind of sick. He may retire this offseason, but Joe Tooney, Lineman of the Year. We are back into the playoffs. 2 straight seasons. Very happy with that. And this time it's a much more favorable situation as we get the 9-8 Saints. We are at home at Soldier Field. The Saints are... how the hell did they make the playoffs? Like, for us, we're just outside a top 5 scoring offense. Top 5 rushing offense. Top 10 defense. Top 10 rush defense. This needs to be a win. I don't know. Like, I'm a little pissed in myself that this is the first... and I should have thought about it all along. Right? We got the Detroit Lions inspired. Like, if that's what this team's going to look like, yes, we have insane depth from a Madden perspective at receiver. Between Loveland, we had Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Luther Burden. But at the end of the day, we need to find our Jahmyr Gibbs. And is DeAndre Swift a Jahmyr Gibbs? Maybe not. But knowing that there's no way that we were going to keep Swift, I should have been more... should have had more foresight that finding like a cheap rookie running back that's a stud needs to be a priority for us. But we're in the fourth quarter, up at home. Let's see this thing out. Come on, boys. 2-minute drive. Kill the game off. And there we go. First win of the Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson era. Maybe closer than you would like over a Saints team. But you know what? They deserve to make the playoffs. It's not like, 9-8. They did enough to get in. We did enough to win. Caleb Williams was efficient on the day. Almost 80% completion percentage. But every day of the week, we have to be able to find ways to beat Spencer Rattler. We had 72 yards for DeAndre Swift. We had 52 yards and a touchdown to Odunze. Luther Burden getting a touchdown as well. And on the defensive side of the ball, Tremaine Edmonds, contract year, continues to play out his... I have no money to pay you. Shout out Shamar Turner, continues his breakout campaign. 2 sacks in a TFL. Montez Sweat with a sack. And the rookie, Alani Bradford, our first-round pick, gets his first pick of the year. What better time than now? Keep adding salt to the wounds of our salary cap situation. Edmonds gets Defensive Player of the Week in the wild card round. Can't afford to bring him back. So in the division round, we get the 10-7 San Francisco 49ers. They're coming to our backyard, so with home field advantage, hopefully ranks true here. Very similarly matched teams. We are 2 top 10 offenses that like to run the football. We're 2 defenses that like to stop the run. I would say, if I'm looking at the tail of the tape, they're 31st pass defense. I'd love to see Caleb Williams take advantage of that. But it's going to be a tough game. Niners are a somewhat annoying team to run into on the NFC side of the bracket. Let's go back at the legendary Soldier Field. 2 iconic NFC franchises. Oh, no. You have to give advantage. You got to give advantage to the experience on the 49ers sidelines. This is a team that's just desperate to win a Super Bowl with that core of players still. And what we are doing is making it ugly, making it a close game, making it all matter in the fourth quarter. Who's going to be clutch? No! Caleb Williams threw a pick in the red zone. Fuck! There you go. That was the moment. Down 21-17 in the red zone. Caleb Williams interception. Or was it a fumble? No, it was a pick. I think I know what I want to do. I need to go find me a running back. I need to find me some linebackers. Shout out Jalen Phillips getting 2 sacks. We need a dominating run game to complement our receivers. This is a scheme that the running back is more important. This is a team that's wide receivers are more important than every other position when you look at the offense on paper. This is a scheme that needs a running back. A running back is more important to this scheme than having the wide receivers that we have. It's kind of really like a misuse of allocations on the offense. I gotta go find a run, and I'm gonna have to fucking blind pick, and it's pretty difficult. Otherwise, I'm just gonna 3 focus scout the top 3 running backs. Hopefully, one of them's a stud. At the end of the year, maybe surprisingly, Joe Thuney doesn't retire. Hey, talked about it last year that maybe that would have been a blessing in disguise to get some free salary cap, but came back this year, 1 lineman of the year. Let's keep rocking and rolling. So our team at the end of the year, we got good dev trait roles. I thought Rome Odunze was, I wouldn't say a lock, but I was prepared for him to lose his superstar. He keeps that on the offense. Maybe the bummer of Joe Thuney winning lineman of the year, that if it was like RNG went to anybody else, Dahlman, Trapio, or Wright, them getting a likely superstar dev trait would have been cool. But Colston Loveland, back-to-back strong campaigns to start his NFL career for the former first-round pick, and he has gone up dev trait both seasons. So that's awesome. And on the defensive side of the ball, we lose the X factor on Jalen Johnson. And we did not play well enough to get a dev trade on either one of our top 2 picks from a year ago. But now we can actually get out of some of these not ideal contracts to free up a not great salary cap situation. So we're going to move on here from Jonah Jackson, freeing up about $10 million. Deo Odengabo, there's another $10 million. Great Jarrett's a great veteran, but also, we need money. And we have Turner, who broke out this year. This one pains me as well. The Canadian Amen Ogbongbemiga. That's $2 million. But as you can see, with those moves, we now have $55 million of salary cap, so that makes things a little interesting. We are going to have to decline that option on Caleb Williams. We're going to have to decline that option. Well, let me do it on Odunze. I think with this, we can now sweat-free re-sign Tyreek Stevenson. Oh, he wants to play for a new team. Even though it's green bar interest. Wow. Okay, that's fine. We'll retool a little bit this offseason. Now, I don't want an expensive running back, but it would be cool if, like, sometimes Jahmyr Gibbs hits the open market. Like, that'd be a cool storyline to steal him away from the Lions. But as it stands right now, I think we're going to have to either find a top-end running back in the draft or find a stud day 2 pick. By letting Edmonds walk, trying to just get younger at that position, now they're just not favorable role. There's not much at the linebacking spot that screams like, and I signed Simpson almost every. I've got him at least in 2 or 3 of our rebuilds. I think we'll try and draft one. I mean, that's just I might have to just because it's such a need. I won't overpay. If he wants to come here, so be it. Corner room, we're good. Safety room, of course, we have Brian Branch, Kyle Hampton. Those are somewhat common names to see on the open market. X Factor and Hamilton. Branch is interested, but I want to. That's just a lot of money. And I got to think, I'd love to think if I can get maybe a running back. If I can get a running back and a linebacker in this draft, I think we could win the Super Bowl next year. But if we can't, I need to prepare for Caleb Williams and Odunze contract. And you don't do that by signing clearly a very awesome player, win now player, at a position where we just used a first-round pick on a guy that was solid. So let's see, can we get Mr. Simpson? Still have the top offer? Nope. So for us going into our private workouts, my focus scouting this year was on middle linebackers. And I, of course, got all of them 80%, so mostly scouted. So, I mean, as far as attributes, the top 2 guys look pretty good. Not that Riley Cooper. This is a different Riley Cooper, okay? Get your, But, Stoutmire does look fairly solid. I think we'll have definitely an opportunity here. Look at this guy. A-man coverage on Oscar Ramos from LSU. But what I need to do is we're going to have to use our 3 I'm just going to go and take a look at the top running backs. So we're going to look at Chad Washington. We'll look at Kion Hines. And we'll look at, Evan Whitfield. Little white lightning back there. Let's see, what kind of information did we get from the top 3 running backs? Well, we got 2 that look good. One in Hines, that's a top 5 talent. And if somehow he gets overdrafted, we have Whitfield, who I'd be fine with that as well. But let's find a way to get Kion Hines. To make sure I don't think he's going in the... Oh, it's us. Okay. I'm going to trust the mock draft, and he should be there for us. Looking quickly, and I think he is. Everybody knew that the Chicago Bears were looking at our running back. And we got Kion Hines, a power back out of LSU, A, ball carrier vision, A, break tackle, B carry, B catching. 4'4", top bench press, 3 cone, pretty good, top 3 at the combine. Yeah, I mean, if I was blind picking, I would like to think I would also decipher that he would be a very good player. Probably wouldn't have guessed top 5 based off of that. But he ends up being number 3 in True Value, getting a pick 27. And that thing about, do we just need a really good running back? Is that the missing piece? I feel like it is. I'd like to hedge the success of this rebuild on this guy being the difference maker. So now we're into the second round where we need a linebacker. And everybody else needed a linebacker because all the good linebackers are gone. I mean, we got some good coverage here, but you really want the A-man, A-zone on middle linebackers. And, there's just... Might be a little light at linebacker this year. I don't know. Is there a big-ass safety I can move? Do, a linebacker role? Jamie Ortiz, 220. 5'9", 220. Put that guy at linebacker. God damn it, man. Well, this guy. Cody Donahue. B hit power. Or like this guy. B hit power. Oscar Mendoza. 6'3", Western Kentucky. Oh, it's not good. Is there any cool corners? B zone coverage. B zone B press on Sands. We also have way down here maybe a value pick in Massey, who has the BA. You also have BA on Donald Love, a day 3 pick. So I think we might want to wait on like a blind pick of a corner. Man, oh man. Is there like a nose tackle cheese? Yeah, this guy. And this guy. Yeah, just because we're running out of time, I'll take a nose tackle. Just because the rest of the league's not letting me get a linebacker. And we'll just go ahead and get the 16th guy in the class. Now, I just stopped in my tracks. Look at this guy. UDFA grade. Derek Maynard out of Vandy. A awareness, A pass block, B run block. Combine, outstanding outside of the bench press. So there's just, there's our Joe Tooney successor. Top 50 player, projected UDFA with a dev trait. Sometimes it is that easy. Now we're going to come back to one of those corners that look decent. Donald Love. Blind pick here. B catching, A press, B zone, combine, first and bench press, top 3 invert, broad jump, top 10, top 5, at least at the combine anyways, in the 3 cone and the 20-yard shuttle. So a lot of things to like. Blind picking here, but Love, top 100 player. Okay, maybe not as... It's still going to be a solid pick. And they're just daring me to keep taking value. C.J. Spurlock from Texas. B pass block, B run block, A impact block. 35 reps on the bench press. Agility, all those testing traits. Very nice for another value pick. 84th in true value. I needed a long snapper. I always think there's value in just drafting a long snapper late. Because you always forget about long snapper. It's a new position. It's pretty much the Pro Bowl. I hated the people that wanted the Pro Bowl in franchise forever. I despised it, but I get it. Same thing with long snapper. I get it. It's positional terminology, but the people that had a hard on for let's have long snappers in game. The reality is you forget you even have them, and then it's like the game won't let you play. It's like, oh, you don't have minimum position requirements. Sign a long snapper. So always just draft one and have one on a rookie contract. It's a crapshoot. They're always a long snap grade. I usually go with the heaviest. All I did here was went with the heaviest guy who also happened to be a Florida Gator. Walt Moran, number 60. I got a hidden dev long snapper. I asked during our Raiders offseason if, I'm going to put this on X, if you could find hidden dev long snappers. Yep. So take a look at our recap here. We get Keon Hines, 78 overall. Very good. What's that? It's only 5 overall point difference. Doing him and DeAndre Swift, and we'll probably make that ground up by the end of his rookie campaign. Brayton, nose tackle cheese. I'm not going to gloat him with that one. That was fairly easy. Maynard fell to us. Love 71. Spurlock 72. The long snapper. I cannot wait to see. I hope that's a superstar dev. I hope I just somehow found a generational long snapper. All right, so we're coming off our bye here in year number 3. And we're 5-2. And this has kind of been a tough schedule. We've beat a lot of times in these rebuilds. It's kind of like you win the games you're supposed to win, and you might lose against a couple teams you clearly are going to see in the playoffs. We have been beating playoff teams all year long. Just beat the Cardinals. They went to the Super Bowl, 2 years ago? We got a Javon Dexter, 3-sack Defensive Player of the Week performance. And maybe we can get a look here at some dev traits. I don't know if the long snapper would have played enough. I got a dev trait running back that I think could be the absolute difference maker in this whole rebuild, and I am more locked in on what is the dev trait of our long snappers. Actually, we don't know the running back yet. Do I know the long snapper? Still waiting. Okay. Well, we got some contracts. Very expensive period here. We have Caleb Williams up first. Luckily, we can make this happen. $355 million. Yes. We have Jalen Johnson. Another just okay, yep, you can't leave. Locked in. We have Odunze up next. Another superstar player. Yep, you need to stay. 3-year, 51. I could probably 52, maybe 53. Probably could even give him better than a 3-year. So I definitely think we'll come back with a better offer. Drew Dalman, that is replaceable at center. Montez Sweat's kind of been on the decline a little bit. Definitely not $16 million. I think if Joe Tooney wants to run it back for 1 year, though, he's won lineman of the year as a member of the Chicago Bears. We'll keep him, but I think Probably at best like a 50-50 he retires or not. And again, he's got Edwards, where like linebackers are hard to draft, but like he's going to be probably below 75 after the regression hits this year. So I think we come back to the table with a better offer from Odunze and let everything else wait and see. So we'll actually come back. Odunze, 4-year, $70 million deal. Get him locked in. Love to see him go back over 1,000 yards this year. So yeah, I can't reiterate enough. Very tough schedule. Had backstretch of the season. We had Detroit twice, Green Bay twice. So backloaded the tough division games. We had Kansas City. We had Philadelphia. So it's one of those, like, you know what? 9-8 with, on paper, one of the tougher schedules I can recall. That's a decent spot to be. Take a look at our stats. Caleb Williams, yeah, you know, let's look at the rushing numbers to put in combination here. 31 touchdowns, 7 picks, not bad. 73% completion percentage. Keon Hines, you know, he's a rookie. Again, I'd like to say this is, you know, the floor of his production here in Chicago. I think next year he could be even better. And this is a starting point, no fumbles. Happy with that. Caleb Williams, 36 total touchdowns. Happy with that. I mean, I want to be like, come on, man, no 1,000-yard receiver, but like, you know, you throw the touchdowns in it, it's not brutal. 700 yards is definitely a little low for Luther Burden, where I thought he'd be, averaging 40 yards a game, but 9 touchdowns ain't bad. 8 and 10 for Odunze, not brutal. And then, you know, in comparison to other tight ends, Colston Loveland is playing like probably a top 5, top 3 tight end in the league. So this might be the rare time where, like, I'm not getting 1,000-yard receivers, but it's not necessarily the end of the world because at least they're being productive and getting touchdowns. Like, it's one of those things like with Luther Burden. Would I rather him get 1,100 yards and 2 touchdowns or 700 yards and 9 touchdowns? You know what I'm saying? Like, the perspective on the wide receiver production, you know, it's not terrible. But I definitely like to think it could get better. I don't know if not having a reliable 1,000-yard receiver is, you know, manageable for this team to go win a Super Bowl in the sim. But I love seeing also Alani Bradford. I had to move him to sub-linebacker due to our lack of linebackers. I mean, at 6 feet, 220, absolutely within his skill set. He thrived. 124 tackles, 11 TFLs, 3.5 sacks. Him on a normal dev trade, I'm expecting a dev trade increase at the end of this season. Our sacks, however, kind of fell off a cliff. 8.5 sacks for Jalen Phillips, 6.5 for Von Dexter, 5 from Turner. 4.5 from Sweat, and our interception numbers there are modest, to say the least. Total MVP for Caleb Williams, but he's still on the short list. Wow, Hines 3rd for Offensive Rookie of the Year. The good news is Hines is a superstar dev already, so it's not like we were going to have to rely on winning Offensive Rookie of the Year to get the dev trade increase. So that's very nice. Top 5 pick that has superstar dev. And if I don't have the dev trait for the long snapper, I'm just going to go look at it because I need to see that. Show me what you have, Moran. Please be super. Please, X Factor. I want you to be an X Factor. Ah! Let's go. That's sick. All right, so first game of the playoffs, get the 12-5 Detroit Lions, who are insanely good. Number 1 scoring offense, top 5 rushing offense, top 5 defense, where we are absolutely not that. All right, let's play spoiler here. Divisional rival. We know them, play them all the time. Opening drive, had to stall out, settle for a field goal. That is not going to cut it against the number 1 scoring offense. To have 2 field goals and 2 red zones. Look, that's all it takes. 1 good drive from Detroit, but now they'll take the offenses are heating up here a little bit. I don't know. I just want a good game from Caleb Williams. I feel like he's yet to have a signature playoff game. We have our 1 win, but in our 2 losses, he's been pedestrian. He's been far from like a 95 X Factor quarterback. And I think you get a win here. Signature playoff win over maybe the best team in the league that somehow found themselves in a wild card spot. But then you let them score and get a 2-point conversion under 2 minutes to go. What can we get? Can the long snapper, the superstar long snapper, have a hell of a snap to get this thing into, oh yeah, let's go. Last second, walk-off field goal. Cairo Santos. I think it's a big part of the superstar long snapper, Moran. But there we go, a signature playoff win for Caleb Williams. He played well. 332 yards passing. That's way above his average this season. played perfect. Our defense did not do the best job slowing down Jared Goff. But we're going to win a lot of games, especially in playoffs, if Caleb Williams can continue to play like that. Run game, not great. Love seeing Loveland pop off. Odunze, DJ Moore. Defensively, we got 3 TFLs and a sack from Javon Dexter. Maybe that's the difference. Oh, yeah, long snapper. That was all him. Look at that. Get his freaking upgrade. He's a power long snapper. It's like a power bottom. So we got to run the gauntlet. Divisional round, we get the 12-5 Philadelphia Eagles, who are pretty similar to how the Detroit Lions are built. This is the number 2 offense with a number 2 rushing offense and a really good rushing defense and almost a top 10 defense overall. We're going to the link against the best this conference has to offer. If Caleb Williams plays like he did against the Detroit Lions, I think we'll win this game. But there we go. We already have a turnover. Philly's out to a fast lead. We need a touchdown here. Let's go. Everybody, anybody's game. Let's get touchdowns, not field goals. 14-14, second half, everything to play for. Philly strikes first. We get a great drive. Oh, no. We go for it on 4th down. Tied at 21. But a great response from Jalen Hurts to go down. Make it 28-21 for the Eagles. But a good drive here. We got 3rd and 3 on the 29. And we're going to try and punch this one in. 28-28. Can our defense get off the field and stop Philadelphia? And we are going to overtime against the Eagles on the road. We get the ball first. What can Caleb Williams do? 3rd down. Oh, look at this drive. 3rd and 10. We get a 13-yard pass to Caleb Williams to Colston Loveland. Red zone touchdown. Come on. Stop him from... okay, we're trade. 2nd overtime needed. Playing with fire here, man. 4th and 2. We kick. We miss the field goal. Fuck. I mean, can't really hold your head too bad about that one. 2nd overtime on the road against the best team in the league. Bummer. Look at Caleb Williams. We'll ignore the defense allowing Jalen Hurts to kind of pop off like that. And let's look at the positives. Caleb Williams just went 5 touchdowns. Run game went over 100 yards. Odunze popped off. Loveland popped off. Veteran DJ Moore popped off. Luther Burden found himself on the score sheet. Edwards back in Philadelphia with a good showing. Got 3 sacks. How many sacks did they get? Did our O-line show up? Got 2 sacks. Like a very, very close matchup. Margins are that thin. But our team, unlike the Eagles, at least an older team at this point, they're going to be worse next season because just natural regression. Our team is an ascending team. We're going to be so much stronger and better if we get to this point in year number 4. The Eagles didn't even make the Super Bowl. That's how badly we beat up on them. However, and I always highlight this when it's a team within the division, the Packers have won a Super Bowl, so the pressure is on for us to go do the same next year. But for our team, dev trade-wise, we're still looking excellent, as always. Dev traits maintained. No dev trait regression. However, spoiler, Joe Tooney retires. Luckily, we had Maynard ready to, we have an 80 overall guard ready to take over. We are going to have to replace Drew Dahlman at center. We definitely need to look at adding more depth to tight end. But offensively, I think we're in a good spot. Defensively, we just cannot get dev traits. TJ Edwards retires. Now, we did get the dev trade on Bradford, our first-round pick, so that's kind of sick. But just continual regression on Jalen Johnson. We're going to be losing Montez Sweat. So I don't know if that's like, do we give Austin Booker finally a chance to start? Or, I don't know. But we need a lot of TLC on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to need at least 2 linebackers. We're going to need a pass rusher. We could arguably use a nickel corner. And we need a center and a tight end. Here's grab a little bit of fun. Cooper DeJean, I'm going to throw the top offer. Fuck. I never get the top. I don't know what. Terrible rolls, dude. The amount of times that I'm clearly like the number 1 in trying to get a player, and then I just never fucking get them in free agency is... All right, well, we got Cooper Beebe at center, so it's one less position I have to worry about, and I'm going to just lowball Luke Musgrave to hopefully get that depth there, which means all the draft is all on the defensive side of the ball. So focus scouting this linebacker, Tavares Oldham. Looks pretty decent. Double C's. I wish it was A's, but everything else on the front end for like just being a C ball, get ball, it's because of his archetype of run stuff, looks insane value. I need a linebacker bad. There is one like really good pass rusher, but like I don't think we're in the business right now of like selling the farm. Even though this guy does look absolutely incredible. I think we got to try to find value. So I'm going to look at Bethel. And I mean, Whitmore, that's a little bit on the big side for a 4-3 pass rusher at 6'3", 288. I mean, I guess we might as well also check him out. Okay, so we got 2 first-rounders here in Whitmore and Shaquem Bethel. And then that linebacker, I bet he's, yeah, there we go. So that's going to be, there's a steal for us. But to get an idea, where is Bethel projected to go? I feel like he's going way out of our range. Yeah, he's going at pick 11. What about that other pass roster? You got Watkins. He's going at 16. We might be able to get, you got one of the first round. Okay, yeah, so we can go pass rusher at 25. So that works out. It's not the one we want. Plus, it's kind of square peg, round hole, not a perfect scheme fit. And he's a run stuffer. I would not have blind picked this guy. Now, he does have great bench press, but C power, F finesse. Well, we kind of played ourselves a little bit because we let Montez Sweat walk, and we didn't really like any of the pass rushers on the open market. So we get, a solid player here in Warren Whitmore, 35 in true value at 25. Great. Another normal dev trait. Without a shadow of a doubt, our worst drafting rebuild so far here in the Madden 26 season. Now, we know we have a really good linebacker here, but my worry is if we let him walk, like, how screwed are we? Because there's this corner that I want. Tim McAllister, A-zone coverage. Very simple why I want him. 6'3". I think we draft the corner, and I think we trade back up in the 3rd round to get that linebacker. McAllister, 29 in true value at 57. Can't buy a dev trade. Very expensive to move up. I had to give up my 3, 4, and 5 this year to get the first pick in the 3rd round from the Titans. They drove a hard bargain, but when you have, especially at a position of need, a first, second rounder still on the board, you got to be aggressive. Can we end our normal dev streak here with Oldham? 44 in true value at 65. Let's go. The 91 speed linebacker brings us a dev trade. So draft class recap, 275 normals. Whitmore 75 normal, McAllister 75 normal, 74 dev trait on Oldham. We get a quarterback here. We get McDougal, a wide receiver, 72 in the 7th round. I'm not going to lie, that was kind of an auto pick, so very much appreciate the CPU for hooking us up with some nice wide receiver depth there. But first 3 picks are solid. Whitmore's going to have to start. McAllister probably will start at nickel. Oldham absolutely will start in the middle of the defense. Looking at the rest of the class, the top pass rusher, 80 overall. So far from generational if we want to make like a huge trade up. There was a strong safety, 81. He looks pretty good. 95 speed out of Oklahoma. But overall, kind of like a meh draft class. Kind of setting my depth chart. Shamar Turner, I did think, back of my mind, we could potentially move him to pass rusher. I mean, it's only a 2-pound difference. He's way more explosive. And because we kind of went with the no-sackle cheese, we have depth at D-tackle where he can kind of be more of a rotational guy and move all across the line. I think that's what we're going to do for our pass rush here going into year 4. So as our Bears team goes into year 4, I think expectations right now are, is it time? We have no real weakness. Offensive line's one of the best O-lines in the league. We have one of the best tight ends in the league. Top 3 tight end in the league. Maybe at this point, what is he actually? Let's see. He might be number 1. Okay, number 3. But he's an X factor. We have still our 3 wide receivers. Burden, Odunze, DJ Moore. We have a superstar monster running back who I think is going to be even better this year. Caleb Williams, a 95 X factor. There's not one aspect of this offense that looks anything less than a Super Bowl contender offense. The defense, work in progress. Maybe not as high-end, but we still have high-end players. Jalen Johnson, still a 92. Javon Dexter is a monster. I think the D-line across board, Jalen Phillips is still a beast. We know he can get double-digit sacks. We'll wait and see if playing Shamar Turner at edge rush works out or not. We got a linebacker that we love. 2 linebackers that are not so much, but what we are going to do is it's going to primarily be in subsets. Oldham and Bradford at linebacker. We're going to have Brackett, one of those corners that we drafted. He's like 75 tackling for a corner, so we'll play him at strong safety. Dotson's not a liability, but, you know, it goes from a Super Bowl contender offense to like, I don't know, that's kind of a middle-of-the-mall defense if I've ever seen one. So we need this offense. We need Caleb Williams to play like an MVP candidate. And maybe let's not forget the fact that we have a generational long snapper. Maybe that is going to be the difference. We need a kicker. Let's bring in one of the best kickers in the league. Shocked he's on the open market. We'll bring in the Boz. So up midseason 5-3. It's not dominating, but last 2 wins against non-great teams. We've at least flexed our offensive muscles a little bit. 35 points, 38 points. Looking at our contracts, declined a couple fifth-year options. So we have Colston Loveland, who I think's earned it, man. He's been getting a lot of touchdowns, a lot of looks in this offense, so want to keep him in. Don't love the fact Luther Burden wants nothing to do with this team. Kyler Gordon, I think kind of get him on a rental. I think Shamar Turner, that's another guy. We'll hit him with a player-friendly deal. He's been playing well. I think he's an ascending player now that we're utilizing him as an edge rusher. Might have cheesed his kind. Might need a better agent there. We have Ozzie Trio left tackle. We'll get him on a 3-year deal. Kind of keeping these homegrown players in-house. Now, Jalen Phillips, leading pass rusher from a year ago. We'll hit him on a 2-year 31. And I think with Luther Burden, I mean, this is one of those ones like, I want to. I don't want to overpay. You have yet to get 1,000 yards. I think we got to wait and see on Luther Burden, just because, you know, everything about me screams keep him. Has the production justified it? And we're at that weird spot where we still have DJ Moore under contract. We'll see at the end of the year. Maybe it could just be as easy as like, all right, it's time to cut DJ Moore, free up some cap. I mean, we're probably roughly at that range with his deal anyways, and then shift all that money onto Luther Burden. The plan. Gotta trust the plan. Took me maybe 2 seasons to understand that no amount of Colston Loveland, superstar Odunze, almost a 90 Luther Burden, DJ Moore, X-Factor quarterback, is going to change the identity of this team. This team needed, all those are going to be good. We've seen good numbers from Caleb Williams. We needed a dominating running back. And what we have this year, we go 14-3, 1 seed in the NFC. And what do we have? The number 1 rushing offense. We just had to go out and get a top 5 superstar running back. Taking a look at the stats, Caleb Williams' passing numbers are, efficient. 29 touchdowns, 2 picks. We had 3 rushing touchdowns, but look at the rushing attack. We got Braylon Allen, former Jet, 235 pounds. We got 224, and Keon Hines, 1,300 yards with 14 touchdowns. But we did get at least our 30-plus touchdowns for Caleb Williams, 420 yards. Nice. We did get a 1,000-yard receiver in Colston Loveland. Rome Odunze, Luther Burden there as well. Defensively, Oldham, the rookie linebacker. And there's some good production there. 11.5 sacks, Jalen Phillips. I think that trade worked out very well for us. 8.5 sacks for Von Dexter. 8 from Shamar Turner, playing that like hybrid inside-outside role. Brighton, the nose tackle, with 6. 5.5 from our first-round pick, Whitmore. We had 5 picks from Alani Bradford, our very first-round pick of the rebuild. Last 2 years, he's been incredible. Ben Johnson ends up winning Coach of the Year. Finally, getting some awards here. And I'm not saying it's a sign of disrespect, but we did not have a single award winner across the board. 1 seed in the NFC. Not one. Man, that's kind of weird. Zach Bond getting back to New Orleans there. Bradford, runner-up for DB of the Year, was the closest. So what that means is we're a disrespected program, and we start at home. This ain't the overpowered Cowboys of years past in Madden Sims. This is a below 500 Cowboys team that's not particularly good at anything. Let's go. Here we go. 1 win, and we're in the NFC Championship game at home against an 8-9 Dallas Cowboys team. This is like as layup-y of a layup that you are going to find. Opening drive, we force a turnover on downs, but it's looking like it's going to be an ugly game. I'd like to think the team that has the better team to win an ugly game. Defense is keeping us in it. We still have 0 fucking points in the first half. What are we doing? Come on, boys. It's not this difficult. It's not. 1 more score, put this thing away. 14-6. I even think a field goal I'd be fine with. There we go. We'll get the touchdown. Even better. Now, does this game inspire great confidence. Maybe in the defense. Offensively, I felt like there was a lot of meh going on in that one, but an ugly win is worth the same as a pretty win. And Caleb Williams played decent, 76% completion percentage. But more so, it is how our defense shut down Dak Prescott and company. That needs to be talked about. Hines with a touchdown. Loveland almost 100 yards. Defensively, look at that. 2 sacks, Jalen Phillips. Sack and a half, Javon Dexter. Sack and a half from the nose tackle. Couple solos there. Pass rush on point. And Jaleel Dotson with the pick. A lot of homegrown players making big-time plays. And with the Super Bowl on the line, we get the 12-5 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The number 2 offense against the number 3 offense. The number 5 rush offense. I mean, they're us. They are built the same way we are, except they are better at stopping the pass. We are better at stopping the run, which should be advantage Chicago. But this will be a tough game, man. All right, here we go. NFC Championship game. 2 best teams in the conference. It comes down to Caleb Williams. Maybe that's why so many people wanted me to rebuild the Bears. Because, obviously, yes, Caleb has maybe the most undeserving X factor in this game. But the fact of the matter is that at no point in this rebuild has it felt like we have an X factor quarterback like that. Like, look, here we go. We have 3 fucking points. Like, the Chicago Bears, schematically, with Ben Johnson, have no feeling of one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And that's always going to be a challenge. That's always going to be an issue. But if we can play clutch, the 5-yard touchdown on Odunze, a 2-point conversion to make it at least give us a little touchdown insurance, and we can win ugly. The fact of the matter is, this team has so much talent on the offensive side of the ball. Winning ugly is borderline unacceptable. But we are in the Super Bowl. It's just one of those teams. Like, that is going to be my takeaway. Unless Caleb Williams goes for 5 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, my takeaway is that the Chicago Bears, this Ben Johnson Bear offense, not my favorite. Because any offense that has one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league, and he plays pedestrian, he's kind of just another guy out there. It feels like I need other people to step up, or I need my defense with Dominic Brayton to pop off for us to really have a chance to win. My defense to keep it low scoring because my offense is far from being high potent. Even though it says statistically we are, I'm not seeing it. So we need, I don't know, big opportunity here in the Super Bowl for Caleb Williams. Prove me wrong. With so much concern about my offense, we go against probably the most overpowered offense. It's right there. MVP Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. I need my 27 points per game offense to show up, and I need my defense. That is a terrible defense on the other side. Yes, they're good at, bend not breaking, as shown by they're pretty terrible at yards, but points are almost top 10. They can't run the football. They're incredibly one-dimensional. We should be able to take long, methodical drives and kill this game off. We'll auto-upgrade our players. I'm going to juice our coach abilities here as best we can. Kind of in order. Look at that. Running back and Caleb Williams both getting upgrades. So here's how we're going to line up with our game plan. We're getting a 21-point ability boost, at least from our side. We're going to go move the chains, which is going to bump up all of our receiver and tight end. We're going to go riot shield, which bumps up pass blocking for all of our linemen. Then we're going to go edge wizards to bump up our edge rushers. Ground guardians to bump up our linebackers. Island kings to bump up our corners. As well as no-fly zone to try and deal with that Cincinnati pass offense. Joe Burrow, Caleb Williams, the story of Joe Burrow. Kind of this generation's Peyton Manning. At least where we are in this rebuild, have yet to win a Super Bowl. Great regular season quarterback. What happens in the playoffs? We have Caleb Williams, who I have just kind of roasted a little bit. And I don't know if it's so much Caleb Williams as it's like, Ben Johnson and the scheme that we're rocking and with here. But what I need is we know that Joe Burrow is going to play like his ratings. We know Joe Burrow is going to play like an X-Factor quarterback. Will Caleb Williams do the same? That is going to determine whether or not we win or lose this game. There we go. We force a punt. We go down. We go for it on 4th down. I love that regression. First score with the aggressive Ben Johnson. We go for it on 4th down twice. To settle for a field goal. Still have a 7-point lead. Cincinnati marches down the field. They get their touchdown. Why are we missing extra points? But look at that. We are piling on. 14-point lead. A chance to get even more. Oh, baby. I'm coming in next drive. This game's already over. I think next opportunity. Let's come in. Let's play a little bit. We got it. We got it, baby. Do we go with a dagger? Do we go with like a Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith type dagger? Same field, same position that they were when they took that shot play. Can we get this to Odunze? Maybe even Luther Burden. Boom. He looks for the dagger. Luther Burden is in. I'll subtract whatever that was. I think Caleb Williams' stat line is going to reflect a quarterback that stood up to the challenge, and in year 4, the Bears belt to ass over the Bengals, 38-10. The narrative around Joe Burrow remains the same. Is he ever going to find a way to win the big one? And at minimum, with how that offense is tooled, with the skill positions, Joe Burrow, and that you can't score 10 points. If you're going to lose and you're a Bengals, it has to be a shootout. And what we're able to do, take a little bit of a page out of Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, and the Eagles win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Take a dagger, run the score up, and Caleb Williams, for the first time this playoff run, I think played up to his rating. Ben Johnson, a hell of a scheme. Using our coach abilities the right way. Buffing the defense where we need to buff it. They showed out. And Caleb Williams is got to be your Super Bowl MVP. 3 touchdowns, did have a pick. So that means before we took over, who would have known if he would have scored on that drive? So that would have been, what, 250, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick? I mean, that's not an insane stat line, but it's still pretty good. Had a rushing touchdown as well, so 4 total touchdowns for Caleb Williams. Hines, the running back, was good. Luther Burden, $142, 2 touchdowns. Odunze getting in. Loveland and Moore contributing. And on the defensive side of the ball, Alani Bradford, our first-round pick of this rebuild, was a normal def, was kind of wet fart. He has been maybe our most valuable defender the last 2 seasons. We got Shamar Turner playing out of position, gets a sack. Don't need any turnovers. The Bears are Super Bowl champions. So as we always like to do, looking at our player stats, what they were able to achieve and accomplish in the rebuild. Caleb Williams, just under 18,000 yards passing, 147 touchdowns and 35 picks. You also need to value in what he was as a runner with another 2,200 yards, another 14 touchdowns. I think overall, my review of the Chicago Bears in the state of this team and roster in this rebuild in Madden 26 is it's challenging because it's definitely not a scheme that's going to highlight the strengths of Caleb Williams, but as you saw with that Super Bowl, every now and again you will see him play to his level, and when he does, it's very good. But I also would say, if I'm rebuilding the Bears again, sooner rather than later, I'm looking for like a high-end running back, a rookie running back like a Keon Hines, a superstar top 5 talent. I think as things would go along, he would continue to kind of keep that balance. We never were really able to get that consistent 1,000-yard receiver, but Luther Burden, 3,100 yards, 32 touchdowns, he was solid. Colston Loveland played every bit like an elite tight end, 3,200 yards, 30 touchdowns in his 3 years. 4,300 yards, 37 touchdowns for Odunze. We got the 10K for DJ Moore. And on the defensive side of the ball, we got Kyler Gordon with a lot of tackles. Made that huge trade to get Jalen Phillips. I think that was smart business. I think if you're rebuilding the Bears, it's just going to be way too hard to have Cole Kmet, Loveland, DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Rome Odunze, all those guys get their targets. I would trade Cole Kmet. I may even do this one. Recommend just look for Miami. Make sure your salary cap's figured out so you can extend Jalen Phillips, but it's going to be worth it. Javon Dexter was solid. Shamar Turner was a great value for us as well. Jalen Johnson, 15 picks, 12 from Kyler Gordon. Bradford with 6. And so there you have it, fellas. That is our Madden 26 Chicago Bears rebuild. I think you guys wouldn't. I mean, this has been easily the most requested team. Maybe it's people that have played with the Bears and like, this is freaking. This definitely was a challenging rebuild. I will say that. Never really had a great salary cap situation, and you have a somewhat tricky offensive scheme for the players that you start with. Would be maybe the polite way to kind of break down Ben Johnson's scheme here in Madden 26 and how it plays in a sim. But all in all, we get there in the end, and I hope you guys did enjoy. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comment section below what rebuild you guys want to see next. I am still waiting on the other side of things for realistic rebuilds and the realistic classes, because that's, I'll be honest, that's kind of really what I want to do for a rebuild standpoint. But until those are ready, I am more than fine just kind of enjoying and dominating the generated draft classes. Where else are you going to find someone that could go out and draft a freaking generational long snapper? Right here, baby. This is where you get it. So subscribe for the long snapper, because long snapper lives matter. Hope everyone else has a great opening Sunday. Stress-free for me. Obviously, Eagles handle business on Thursday night. So hope all your fantasy teams hit, all your parlays hit. And I'll see you back here on the next one. Till that time, it's your boy C4 saying peace, I love ya. Have a good one.